Hey y'all, so this is one of the few times that I've actually posted about something negative, and it's sad news, it's shocking, and it's confusing all at the same time. Apparently, Reiner, the director, and his wife were terminated. I don't even want to say the other word because it's just like so painful to even say that. This is news to me. This only happened like 2 days ago, but I'm like, what? Like I said, I typically don't post about negative news, but I don't know, y'all. We about to be entering a new year. This might be somewhat going in the direction of the channel, but I have to find a way to put a positive spin on it and to offer some encouragement, because ultimately that's what I do want this channel to be about. So based off of the little bit that I read, Rob Reiner's son had a history of addiction, and it's what it sounded like, because based off of what I read, like, they're not really telling a whole lot. And I get it because it just happened like 2 days ago. It sounds like kind of like a Marvin Gaye situation where somebody got mad, and they're not really describing like how he did it or whatever. It just sounds like somebody got mad and it resulted in him harming his parents. I do think it's appropriate for me to talk about this because being a movie buff, being an actor, being someone who loves acting, the arts, movies, and all of that stuff, I want to pay homage to Rob Reiner and his wife, because this is jacked up. Along with like whatever heat of the moment happened and them getting upset, his son also struggled with like some addiction problems, or has a history of addiction. They didn't get into a whole bunch of details, like in terms of how long he's been struggling with it, or at least like I didn't see it. Granted, I couldn't really read. Like, when it comes to stuff like this, sometimes I don't like to read too much because I don't like negative news. I don't enjoy reading bad stuff happening to people, especially when they're people with, like, you've grown up with their work. I also think this is appropriate to talk about because I think we've all had, not necessarily something like this happen to us, but we've all had something happen to us where we've been done wrong. So I don't know what the heat of the moment was that they were having that made him angry enough to do that. But I do want to say we've all been angry. We've all been upset. And some anger is justified. For example, without me telling y'all too much, I'm currently dealing with a situation, and it has effed me up gargantuanly. Somebody did me wrong. Like I said, I won't say too much, but it has put a huge wrench in everything that I had planned in every single way. Financially, my transportation, everything. I'll just say this. Something got stolen from me. With that being said, I'd be lying if I said I still wasn't a little upset about it. But like I said, I think all of us have had something done wrong to us where it has made us upset, and sometimes justifiably upset. But if I were to add any type of positivity or encouragement into this, I think going into 2026, this is for everybody, but specifically believers, myself included, I think getting a grip on anger and self-control and forgiveness would do us much good moving forward. I think a lot of people struggle with anger more than they're willing to admit, and more than they're willing to accept. Even some people are just like, I don't even want to talk about it. And am I guilty of that? Absolutely. Because sometimes it's just easier to do. You don't even want to deal with what has happened to you. You just want to get past it so you can move forward. That's totally understandable. But I think moving forward, we just have to be aware of stuff that makes us mad and address it at some point and come to grips, find a solution, let it go, and move on. And that is a really hard thing to do sometimes, especially when it's justified. There's this book that I haven't even started to read it yet, but it's called Uprooting Anger. And if I can, I'm gonna figure out a way to like plaster it in the video or put a link down in the description so y'all can see what it looks like. I do think that a lot of times when we lash out and when we do certain things, a lot of times we end up having to go back and apologize. A lot of times it's because it's deep-rooted anger from other stuff that we haven't dealt with. It's bitterness, and it's usually a compound effect of little things that have happened over time. And let's just put this situation to the side real quick. When you talk about fallouts, when you talk about fallouts between friends, family, even divorce, or when you are married, or when you do have children and you blow up on them, and it's just like, well, where did that come from? What we know, and what you probably know, is that something much deeper going on, and there's a plethora of things that happened that led up to that explosion. I think 2026 needs to be the beginning of rectification and beginning the healing process when it comes to anger. Because you know what? Anger is the cause of a lot of stuff that's going on in the world today that's really, really jacked society up. I mean, from like fatherlessness and people being angry about that, and people being angry about their parents not staying together, and people being angry about the stuff that has happened to them, whatever you want to, bullying, being sexually violated. There's so many things that we hold on to that cover up really it's anger, but the anger is a manifestation of pain. And I think that's often a lot of times when you'll see somebody act out of anger, but it's really because they're hurting. Something is going on in there that they have not faced and dealt with, and that they have not really just probably had that wound healed. I've said this before, I'll say it again, like, I'm no exception to this rule. I think this is a general overall human thing, and the Bible talks about that. And even if you ain't a Christian, psychologists will tell you, scientists will tell you, it's really beneficial when you let stuff go, and it makes a difference in everything. It can lighten your load in every single way, from physical, mental, a whole bunch of stuff. So my love goes out, my heart goes out to his family. I don't know what's going to happen with their son. And even if, like, because, you know, this is still very early in the process, there's, I guess, a possibility that the son didn't do it, but whoever did it, yeah, just Lord have his way. Let's get anger a little bit more managed moving into 2026 and beyond. So, I love y'all.